Hi. Today we will talk about dealing with resistance. Suppose you have a project and you want your team to be on board, and you're surprised to find that they are actually not as excited as you are about the change. So how come? Well, most resistance has to do with our limbic system, our middle brain, kind of sending us an alarm, saying something's about to change in our world, and that could be problematic. Now, why is it problematic? Well, because our brains are pre-programmed to really pay attention to the problems of the world rather than the opportunities. So it's always going to send us alarm saying, tomorrow is somehow going to be different, this could be a problem. And then our brain goes and makes meaning from it. And the meaning could be whatever the situation is, maybe a loss of my job, maybe a loss of my position, maybe I'll have to move someplace, etc., etc. So most things that are going to be unpleasant. And then we sort of turn this around often and think that the reason we're feeling concerned is because these things we're imagining are real. And it's actually not that. It's the other way. First, we feel upset, alarmed, concerned, and then we make meaning from it. So if you want people to buy into your project and deal with this resistance, the best way to do that is to acknowledge it. Tell them that it's perfectly fine and normal to feel some sort of concern about what might be happening. If it's possible, speak with people individually to help them process this concern. So this does two things. One, it allows them to speak to you about some of their concerns, which you might actually be able to deal with. For example, somebody might say, moving is really challenging for me, so you know that this person doesn't want to move. But the other thing it does is it allows you to hear them and acknowledge them, and they will feel heard and acknowledged if you do it well, if you just ask them for their reasons rather than try to talk them out of them. And so that will help them to process their concern. Once it's processed, then you can ask them to make a distinction between the feeling that they have, which is very real and very legitimate, and the meaning that they're making from that feeling, which is their thinking in the brain, which may actually not at all be what your situation is. So they may be concerned about job loss, but job loss is really not in the picture. But you can only speak to that, it can only have credibility once they're past this feeling of hesitation and they're open to what you have to say. So that's a fast way of being able to address resistance on an individual basis if possible, by acknowledging it and then asking people to make a distinction. And once they do, then you can speak about the actual chances of policies that might affect them. So I hope that's been helpful. Let me know how you deal with resistance. Leave comments, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.